welcome to another episode of Good Morning Source Gaming. Now let's go and join our compatriots today.
There he is.
Hello, I'm here and we're live. So,
wow.
Oh, no.
Everything you say now will be heard by the... I don't know, I'm not even going to look at the view count. So let's just pretend the thousands of people who are listening to this.
Hundreds of millions of people.
Yes. So joining me today is my co-host Colin.
Hi.
And our special guest for this week is the wonderful duo from the Transparency YouTube channel, Kiki and Alicia. Say hello.
Hello.
So this is your first time on the show, so why don't you introduce yourself and let people know what your channel is about, what the two of you enjoy, you know, little introduction stuff.
Sure. This is the hardest part.
No.
So I'm Kiki. I'm not Kiki. Oh my god, this is what I do.
Oh no.
Did you just assume my identity?
Yes. Oh my god.
It's okay.
It is the hardest part.
It's okay.
God.
I think I'm spazzy all the time.
Honestly, at some points, like we start to lose track of like where Kiki begins and where I where she ends and where I start and everything. I am Alicia, and this is
I
Kiki.
am Kiki.
Yeah, you are Kiki. That's correct. And we are the duo of Transparency, a YouTube channel that talks about video games mostly. We do readings of video games, like, you know,
From angle like art and psychology, because that's our educations.
Yeah.
So we do like a teamwork thing where we can cover both fields at the same time.
Hell yeah. A lot. It's a bunch of like games as art stuff, you could say, you know, where you look at the video games not as literally and start to figure out what's really happening. It's the explained formula, but real. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're both big fans of your the content you've made. I think it was the gamer identity one was the first one. One of our fans shared it in our Discord.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's when we got into the source circle.
The source. We entered the source.
Yes.
The sauce circle.
You ended the source through the discourse, and that was a really good one. I really appreciate whoever used the Hotel Dusk music, whoever's decision that was, to play that in the background of part of the video. I love that soundtrack.
I can't even remember.
It was probably you, because I've never played Hotel Dusk.
I can't remember. Like that's the problem with like making videos, and you think like, yeah, this is really smart and clever, and then someone just comes up to you and says, "That was really good," and you're like, "Yeah,
Yes.
of course, yes,
I remember.
yes, I remember, of course."
I was enthused.
Yeah, but we laugh too much about our own videos in general, and then we get annoyed when people don't notice our gags.
That's always the way of the content creator. You got to be able to look back on it and laugh and enjoy it, and you put in little subtle hints everywhere of little in jokes that then nobody gets.
Hell yeah.
That's always ways you enjoy it. So, as per normal, we always start this by going over what games we've been playing recently. And I'll let Colin start as the example, though, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. But, Colin, what have you been up to this last week?
Well, this is my final week of enjoying video games ever, as next week I have an eye surgery.
No.
No, I have a condition that I had to get surgery for was in 2018, and then I got to do it in the other eye next week on Tuesday. So I was like, oh, I better make this like this last week you know, cool. I better play some like really great games from my backlog. No, I just played more Clone Hero. That's
Fair.
Anyway, so I got another Rock Band guitar. This is the only thing I have to add to the conversation. I got another Rock Band guitar, because you can't have enough of those. And I got it and it works fine, but like there was a rattling on the inside, and I was like, this thing better not be broken. So if you ever have to open a Rock Band guitar, it's the most like tedious thing on the planet, because there's 11 like 1.5 inch long screws, or however that is in not American, and it's very tedious. It takes forever. And I opened it up, and there was just like a loose chunk of hot glue, like just rummaging around inside this controller, because harmonics just zip tied and hot glued like all the wires in place.
Nice.
So I just flicked out the piece, screwed everything back in, went to go play again, and there was another rattling piece of hot glue inside. And I was like, well,
no.
I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm just gonna have to live with that forever.
How many guitars and pieces for Rock Band do you have now? Like drum sets and all that?
I have 3 Rock Band guitars. I have 2 Stratocasters. I of course have the Beatles Hofner. Because why wouldn't I? Because I
Mr. Beatles, man.
remember when they charged $250 for Beatles Rock Band? That was cool.
I don't
What's it at
remember.
now?
Yeah.
I imagine it should be very cheap. Or is it like very rare to find like working ones?
Man, am I sitting on a gold mine with my copy?
Well, it's that like the big box, like the one that came with like the guitar and the drums and the
so like the full
postcards
band
and whatever.
kit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like $250 for whatever reason. But no, the instruments do cost more now. The games cost nothing. The games are like a cent. But yeah, I have those 3 Rock Band guitars, and then I have 5 Guitar Hero guitars?
Jesus, I don't know how you got the space for them. I had like
they
one
don't take
Guitar
up a
Hero
lot of
guitar,
space.
and I just used it for everything.
I have them laid out in like a corner, just like stacked on top of each other.
Fair.
Yeah.
And
other than that, it's just Counter-Strike. It's
all right. Kiki, Alicia, what have you both been playing this week?
Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, that's a video game.
That's basically it. Well, it was Dinosaur Planet 2. We'll get to that one.
We'll get to that one.
Yeah.
Really, Super Mario 3D World doesn't really need an introduction, I think.
No.
But it's like, I played it on the Wii U, and that was like figuring out it was in 2013 is like, oh my god, time.
It's 8 years old.
Time is so fleeting. Why?
I mean,
why is everything happening?
From that perspective, it's kind of like neat that they like expanded that game with like a new game mode, because like 8 years later, that would be like if Super Mario 64 got like an extra mode in 2004, and I realized it got this is a 3DS remake.
Yeah, the 3DS
remake.
The
DS
remake.
The 64 DS. Sorry,
but like. I was thinking about it, like, man, that game didn't make sense on the Wii U. Not because it like didn't run well or anything. It was more like already at that point, people were starting to get a bit like feel a bit bad about Wii U, and we already had new Super Mario Bros. U. And people were like, oh yeah, the next Super Mario game is gonna be amazing. Just think about like Galaxy 3, the boundless space, everything can happen. And then they're like, yeah, 2D Mario, but in 3D. And like it makes so much more sense today, where you have a collection of games, you have Odyssey, you have so many games.
Like, in a sense, I can absolutely understand if people saw 3D World when it was released as like new Super Mario Bros. 5.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like I think people really look down on it, simply because it was kind of simple in comparison to what was released before, like Galaxy. That felt monumental, you know. It did a lot of new things, and then we have 3D World. That is basically like just taking a bunch of things we have seen before, but like tilting the camera a bit and saying like, yeah, It's like it couldn't just be competent anymore.
Yeah.
Like people were the Wii U had so much to show for itself, and then it just didn't.
I guess
I
the
think-
deceptive. Yep.
I think an issue with 3D World is that you could kind of tell that it was Nintendo's real like first attempt at like a big HD game,
Yeah.
and that they maybe weren't like ready to make that jump. That's actually happened with a lot of Nintendo's developers, even up to like the Switch, because you have like the Fire Emblem developers making a game that still kind of more or less looks like a 3DS game but blown up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 3D World is so weird because it's like the new Switch version is great because they sped it up, and that's like exactly what that game needed. It's like a total shot in the arm.
Yeah,
But,
like part
but-
of it, absolutely.
Mhm.
yeah, but like the original Wii U release is like, I mean, it's still a good game, but it was very slow and it's like awkward at times, and graphically it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a game,
Yeah.
I think, it was always a good game.
That's
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
deceptive part about it. Like it looks very generic, but it's actually very good.
Yeah.
It's
It's
very
fun.
competent. Like it's not very exhilarating. Like the
No,
visual department
it's
or
not.
anything.
It's not very exciting. It's not like, oh, it's Super Mario. It's not like Super Mario Odyssey. It's like Super Mario Odyssey was like, oh my god, what is happening? But this is like, I described it in my review as like them taking Super Mario Brothers 3 and just tilting the camera a bit and saying like, yeah, there we
Mhm.
go. It's like, and it's really good, but it makes so much more sense on the Switch. And I think Bowser's Fury is really funny in that way, because it's like that mode is kind of what people wanted from Super Mario 3D World to begin with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it goes full circle. Like it's so weird how they have recontextualized everything from 3D World into a completely new game that was what people wanted from the beginning. And
Yeah.
you can't really I think it's not worth getting this game just for Bowser's Fury because it's so small, but it gives us probably a view into what's going to happen
I also
in the future.
think it's kind of funny because like people were clamoring for like Odyssey DLC because it was the most obvious thing to like is to expand it with more levels.
Mhm.
And then they did like an Odyssey DLC for 3D World because
It's
Bowser's
weird.
Fury feels like Odyssey DLC.
Yes.
Bowser's Fury is a weird one. I get this sort of uncanny valley feeling from it with Odyssey because it's not running on the Odyssey engine; it's running on the 3D World engine.
Yeah.
But they've
And
moved
that's
the
amazing.
but they've moved the camera so it looks like it's Odyssey.
Yep.
But
I wish I wish so that they would just do this with more games. You know, just
Mhm.
take an old engine and make something new. Because like they might as well have just made this into an entire game. Like everything is already there. The assets are done. The engine is fine. Like you can just make an entire game out of this.
yeah, they should.
But I think this is just like playing around with the aspects of like making Mario even more open
Mhm.
than before.
Yeah, I think a big open world Mario game is a possibility that they're sort of building up towards, because this does kind of work like that. It is just one massive level, bigger than any of the Odyssey kingdoms, but they're all separate islands, so they all feel like distinct 3D world levels to a smaller scale.
Although I have to say the Switch cannot really like handle some of those vistas.
It's starting to show its age.
Yeah, but like it's kind of telling when like there are points in that game where you're like, ooh, but it's not from like the view being breathtaking, more like, oh shit, I think the Switch is gonna burst.
Yeah. Odoodle in the chat said something good. They could have just charged $20 for it, to be honest. And yeah, that's exactly what they should have done. Like just separated them and put it, because I think people would be fine with a 5-hour experience sort of thing where it's like they experimented with something.
Like I think the most diplomatic approach would be to just like release it like separately on eShop as like an alternative for people who already have 3D World.
Yeah.
Because if you already have that game, I guess like it's full price for 5 hours is.
Yeah. I do think they've updated enough of they've updated quite a bit of the core of 3D World, where I feel like at least of all the Wii U ports they've done, it's probably the most substantial. It's the only one other than Tokyo Mirage Sessions that I've actually bought, and I only bought that one because I'm a big fan of that series and I wanted it to do well. But I
agree. It's just it's a great package. It's probably the best package out of their re-releases from the Wii U, probably.
The Wii U re-releases. 3D World is also what I've been playing this week. I actually beat it the other day. This time, though, I've been playing through it single player. Not by choice. We bought it, me and my friends all bought it so we could play it online, and the online is garbage. As is the Nintendo way. And so we gave up playing it together after World 1, which is a shame because the Wii U one, I got vivid memories of 3D World on that because we literally got it. I was at university when it came out, and we played through the entirety of the game in one sitting, like 5 of us, just taking it in turns. So we got all the way from the beginning of World 1. I think we got up to unlocking Rosalina, and then we thought that would be a good stopping point. But it took us a good 9 hours straight. So it was like 4 or 5 in the morning by the time we were done. But it was super fun and we all remember it. And so it's been interesting playing 3D World in a slightly different way. Playing it single player. And also I've just been sort of playing it exclusively as Toad. Because he's like the hard mode character, I guess. Or at least the closest you can get to it. And just running through the game.
They also like the speedrun character.
Yeah, he's insanely fast in this game. Like nothing else outruns Toad, and it's quite mad some of the stuff you can pull off. The bunny rabbits you can catch to get green stars, I've managed to grab them before they even start running. Like, that's how quick
they don't
Toad
seem
goes
to have
now.
gotten faster, which is really funny.
It's just Toad and his super speed now.
That's what he does.
That's what he does. So
I love how in 3D World, like I remember when it first came out on Wii U, and I had all my buds over because we were all spry young folk, and you could actually hang out with your friends in person, and I remember having them all over to play 3D World, and I was that jackass that every now and then would hit the random character button on the loading screen, which I don't know why that's there other than to piss everyone off.
There's a lot of things in that game that are designed to aggravate the other people. How many friends have you thrown off a cliff while running around?
The button is so fucking stupid because it's like not only is it like, oh, my feel for this character is now completely off, but also which person am I on this screen?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was playing a bit of single player and I was like, oh my god, it's still there, and then I hit it and it changed like Mario to Toad, and then I was like, wait, why did I do this?
Well, that game has a lot of like small parts that you're like, did Nintendo like intend people to like, the levels were like the switching platforms when you jump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 4 people. Did Nintendo intend anyone to make it through that?
That's not happening. We had problem doing it.
Yeah,
together.
we were like 2 persons. We were like, okay, on 3, 1, 2, no!
The best part was when there were green coins on top of them, and you were standing on one of those like little robots that shoot out like a laser, shockwave laser, and there was a coin right above you, and I said, "Don't jump," and you jumped.
Yeah, because
and I
like my brain is just seeing like it's above me. You said something, jump.
We had an experience like that on Champions Road. One E3 eons ago, we all sort of just played 4-player Champions Road, see who could get to the end of the level first. It took us like 2 hours, like in between the Xbox conference and another one while we were waiting. It was just a 2 hours of one level over and over again. People would just run too far ahead and then fall off to their death. It was an experience.
I think I think they included the 4-player like cooperative thing in New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and they didn't expect like carnage. Like they didn't expect the absolute mayhem that resulted from it. So they must have just picked up on it, and then because like there are some moments in New Super Mario Brothers U, and especially in Luigi U, where things get so hectic that you're like, there's no way they didn't think like people playing with their 3 buds are gonna like freak the fuck out like mid-level.
The thing with it is that like it would be manageable probably if Nintendo didn't put in the feature, big citation marks on that one, the feature to be able to pick up your friends. Why is that a feature?
It's so often where you're like,
it's like every time
I'm running with you.
And then like it's even worse when you have the like the fireballs, the fucking like it's the fire flower, and it's like every time you try to throw a fireball, there is a little chance that you will pick up your friend and throw them. Thanks Nintendo, it's great.
It all adds up to the chaotic experience, but I think Mario that kind of makes the game more memorable.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. You have to go in with the right mindset.
Yeah,
if you go in like with the mindset to we're gonna play 4 players and we're gonna take everything. We're gonna 100% this game. Yeah, good luck, friend.
Yeah, anyone who goes into that game like that is like,
Yeah, it's just they're setting themselves up for anger at that one moment where one of their friends accidentally hits the flagpole too early, and everyone has to try and scramble to it to get to the
Mario
end
is a concept which we use to measure our pain.
Yeah. First Mario Party and then Super Mario 3D World.
Oh gosh. I guess that's like just the Mario Party experience. It's chaos.
The best part is how happy everyone is.
I think that's why Mario multiplayer games in general is like so fun. Yeah. Because like Mario Party,
Mario Kart.
I guess the intention is for it to be fun, but Mario Party is never fun. Mario Party is like an ordeal, a very fun ordeal, but like
it's pain.
It changes you.
It changes you.
Nothing beats watching someone get chance. Nothing beats watching someone get chance time when they're winning at the very end of a Mario Party 2 game.
I have like the most intense Mario Party story ever. From a couple of years back, I played with a bunch of friends, and I was very close to winning. It was like the last turn, and my friend needed one more star to like beat me, and they were 4 spaces away, and I was like, you're not gonna no. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to like do the most safe precaution ever. So he takes like a 3 dice mushroom to like really make sure he wins. And I just blurted out like, okay, I'm selling my soul to the devil for you to not win. And he gets 1-1-1. This is 100% serious. I was like, oh my god. Is this the way I find out about like religion being real?
The price we paid.
I wish that was on like camera, because like it sounds unreal, but like it actually happened.
Someone at Hudson, when they were creating the name escapes me, but like when you land on just like a random spot and they're like, yeah, here's just a star, fuck it, like just like
hidden
out
block.
Of nowhere, yeah, the hidden block. They must have known like, I can make people murder each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they were absolutely like, this is gonna set off a few things, because that is the most like maddeningly like, are you fucking serious?
Like the worst part, I think the worst part is that like it's a unison where a lot of people say no and one person says yes. and then we hear Mario just say, woohoo, I got it. And you're like, no, you plumber asshole. Like, no, you did no.
Probably the same guy who put Boo in the game and was like, "Yeah, you can spam the B button for it
But
to
it
steal
does
less
nothing.
coins, and it does nothing. It does nothing."
Like the magic lamp, the Boo crystal ball, and the hidden block. I bet that was the same person, and it was Miyamoto who just like came over and was like, "No, it needs this."
Just one guy at Hudson that no one notices. He just goes in and adds new features like that. Doesn't get permission, just does it.
He was the one that made Sonic Shuffle.
Yeah, I just imagine like Miyamoto like hovering over them like a ghost, kind of. He's translucent, and he's like, yes, but what if it had this?
Or whispering in their ear.
Yeah, he's like chaos. He's a spirit of chaos. Like he goes in there and just does his thing. Changes up.
Although I guess what more in spirit with Miyamoto would be like if his ghost just came and was like, "We need a car."
Yeah.
Everyone should move together.
What if you could shift the Wii U gamepad?
What if
it moved? That would make so much sense though if the guy who made all the asshole parts of Mario Party was the lead on Sonic Shuffle, because I feel like not enough people talk about Sonic Shuffle, because Sonic Shuffle is Mario Party, but if it was as obtuse as humanly possible, and is like designed for you to not have fun, like at all.
Yeah,
They could have
played it.
They could have made They should have made the entirety of that game's instructions in like hieroglyphs. It does not matter. Like there is no possible knowledge one could have to win at Sonic Shuffle. It is designed to just completely curb stomp you and everyone who plays.
You know how you have to go in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire? You have to go into like a cave and read a bunch of
Braille.
A bunch of Braille in order to figure out where the Reggie trio is. That's that game.
Read Braille on your flat screen. Yes, this
that should be man. That's what we got to set up for the next charity stream. We got to do Sonic Shuffle at like 2 a.m.
I mean, man, you're selling it to me. You know this. I'm a big Boom Street fan as well, so Sonic Shuffle sounds great. That's why
I guess the thing about Sonic Shuffle that really sells it is that like Sega, who loves to re-release games, never even like considered it.
30th anniversary of Sonic, right? It's maybe this is time for Sonic Shuffle HD.
Gosh, can you imagine if they did that? Like just like 30th anniversary, Sonic Shuffle HD remastered.
It's a Sonic party, you know. We got to do it.
M2, it's not too late. Please release Sega Ages Sonic Shuffle.
I want like Blue Point Games Sonic Shuffle.
Yeah.
Do you imagine if that was the one Dreamcast game they released for the Sega Ages line is Sonic Shuffle?
I kind of like the chaos in gaming communities in general, when it's like, oh yes, it's the Sonic 30th anniversary, it's gonna happen. Well, this is happening, you know, that kind of deal, and then this happens, the Sonic Shuffle. I would be happy.
I'm thinking like a press event, like Christian Whitehead walks up on stage.
Christian Whitehead, he's not even.
We've been away for like 4 years since the release of Sonic Mania.
Yeah,
I know you guys have been very, very patient for this, but like we worked very hard in secret on this new project, and I think you're gonna like it. Sonic Shuffle HD remastered.
Sonic Shuffle Mania.
It's really
We've
funny
added
because
Mighty
I
to
feel
the
like
roster, and that's it.
it's really funny because they could probably pull off doing another Sonic Shuffle, because like people are really unhappy with Mario Party nowadays.
Yeah.
So people would probably be like, you know what? Screw it, let's give Sonic Shuffle another chance.
No, with the quality of Sonic spin-offs in recent years, I'm not convinced they'll do it. If anything, Sonic Shuffle HD will make people appreciate Super Mario Party more.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Sonic Shuffle Free Riders. That's the one.
Sonic Shuffle 2, now by Dimps.
Oh, baby.
Oh no!
Dimps is fine. Don't be mean to Dimps.
Dimps made
People are
Sonic
Sonic the
Rush,
Hedgehog
so
4
they can have
episode
some.
1 shuffle.
Yeah.
They got
But Sonic is fine. Don't worry about Sonic, everyone. Sonic is gonna do perfectly fine. There is a TV show coming, a new movie. There is probably a game being made.
There might be a game.
Fingers crossed, maybe.
But like, I think it's kind of this is totally unrelated. But I think it's kind of funny, like how some people seem worried that Sonic is gonna fly off the face of the earth and just die.
I've
I'm
heard
like,
people
man,
be like,
I think he's like in the best position he has ever been.
Yeah, but
Like,
I've heard
at
people be
least
like,
the recent years.
but I heard people be like, oh, Sonic, the next Sonic game needs to be good, or else Sonic is dead. And I'm like,
No.
Sonic cannot be killed.
God, I wish that
you
were
cannot
true.
kill Sonic.
Like if Sega, let's say that Sonic, the next Sonic game bombs completely and Sega dies. Like Sega explodes.
Sega just explode.
Yeah, like the entire they like just like, you didn't like the new Sonic game, so we're gonna go to the moon instead, and they just fly off. Like someone would pick up Sonic, like they would have to sell that shit. Someone would pick it up, and then more would happen. Like honestly,
Sonic is just Sega is just Poochie. Yeah, all that Yakuza money doesn't matter. I gotta return home to my home planet now. Bye bye.
I'm sorry for derailing this.
No.
We should get on.
Oh,
Like,
it's really good.
Ugh. Gosh darn.
But on the topic of new games, this segue right into the first main topic on our agenda, and that was Nintendo finally breaking off the quote-unquote drought and
Yes.
releasing the first Nintendo Direct, general Nintendo Direct, in 500 and something days or whatever it was.
I feel like the best way to summarize how I feel about the Direct is just like watch our reaction, like watch our live reaction we did, because everyone in that video is like so jazzed and was like, yeah, that looks fucking Famicom Detective Club, holy shit.
Yeah,
And
you were
it was
lucky
like-
I wasn't on that, because I would have absolutely popped off and destroyed
You
the
would have
sound
screamed.
quality.
You would have been our Matt this time.
Yeah. I was never
like-
expecting that game to get localized. I'm so
But
happy
yeah,
about
we're like so stoked, we're happy, everyone got a little bit of something, and then I'm like, man, I wonder what the internet thought about that. And it was just like, click, oh no.
No, my reaction to that was while watching it, seeing someone on Twitter go 36 minutes in and they've shown absolutely nothing so far. And I'm just like, are we watching the same thing? This is already the best Direct ever. What are you on about?
Like this is the problem. A lot of people who are like asking for Nintendo Directs during this time, like it's the same people who take all the things that we saw last year, like all the announcements, all the things they did, and just say there was nothing.
yeah,
Mhm.
because it
like-
wasn't in a Direct, so it was not.
Like obviously, so when a Nintendo Direct comes, they are like, oh yes, it's finally happening, this is gonna be the greatest thing, and then it happens and it's like, oh, turns out Nintendo Directs have always been a little bit shit. Like
Well, I mean,
they
it's
are
always
fine.
the third-party games. Like it's always the
Yes.
big showcase of not Nintendo games. Like that always happens. And people are like, oh no.
Yeah, like
Really, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's
no, it's fine.
it's really funny because I remember last year, because you had the March Mini, and then they started doing like the shadow drops of like Paper Mario. Well, I say shadow drops. I hate using that term for trailers because it's just it's just a trailer. Like who gives a shit? It's like the like they started, hey, here's a new Paper Mario coming, or like, hey, like Hyrule Warriors 2, stuff like that. And then they started having the partner showcases and the indie worlds. And honestly, like I was vibing with that.
Yeah, it worked
because
perfectly well, I think.
I'm one of those weirdos that's like, fuck yes, Sniper Elite 4 for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
let's go, but it's like a situation where, I mean, as someone who's been watching the directs since the Wii U days, I
Mhm.
think the newer directs are so much better. They're
Yeah,
so
totally.
much better in every which way because it's no longer, hey guys, we got to talk about. I know the last direct already had 5 minutes on Xenoblade Cross, but I need your attention for another 5 minutes to talk about Xenoblade Cross and kind of mention Devil's Third. Like,
Yeah.
and it's and so
Fucking
like
Devil's Third. Oh no.
When was the last time they did like skits in directs?
That was quite a long
the
time.
that was
they had the
E3?
Galaxy new 3DS, I think, with
Yeah.
Yokai
Yeah.
Watch, and they were
the
really trying to
Yokai
push
Watch
that game.
ones were, I remember.
But sorry, like
No, no, it's okay.
2020, I think, like the way they presented things, where they like shadow dropped it, sort of, they put up on announcements. You woke up, you saw, Paper Mario is happening, and then
Nice.
they make like a direct sort of thing, a presentation specifically for that.
Yeah.
And when like the Mario 35th thing happened as well, I think actually that's it may be a bit better for me personally, because like you can kind of give more room for every announcement to breathe, and
Yeah.
and just in general, like, I don't know. It kind of feels like you cut out a bunch of fluff, where you can then put it like in a partner showcase thing for the people who don't actually care and just want the announcements. It should be like kind of amazing, Finally, you're free. You're free
Yeah.
from the stuff you don't want, and like I don't know.
Yeah. I said in like the Discord last year when I was talking to some people, I said like the reason why directs are cool and neat and awesome and epic is that like it completely it gets rid of the conference, like the live conference, like Reggie comes out and goes, now our partners at Ubisoft will tell us about it completely eliminates that. It's just trailer, which is great. If you have a chronic addiction to video games, it's a cool thing, because then you can just see video game back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
The thing is that like that's just like the byproduct of it too, is that it's really also just because it's convenient. It's more convenient to release a 50-minute video with a shitload of trailers as opposed to doing a conference or having all of these other companies do their own announcements on their own time. It's just like, here's a big bunch of stuff. But at the same time, like for the people who just want, like, I don't care about at World's End or whatever that game is called, like I just want to see Mario. Then it's like, yeah, the Nintendo can just drop a trailer on Twitter. They have the clout to do it. It's not like Nintendo is this like small independent company where it's like, no, we need to make like an hour-long thing that people will watch, or else how else will people know there's a new Mario? It's like I liked the 2020 formula. I don't think like directs should end, because I'm the
But they
type of person
didn't
that,
even like.
but no, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, it's so weird that what I'm trying to say is you can't please anyone with this shit,
No,
and
no,
that's
no, no.
the problem. It's because it's when you do the Shadow Drop partner showcase formula, everyone goes, yeah, but I miss the directs. But then when you do the direct again, it's like, I just want my my Zelda announcement. What the fuck?
Yes.
What is all this other video game?
Turns out, actually, the consumers don't know what they actually want. This is like a common thing all the way back in, like, from the dawn of consumerism. The whole thing, with the kind of coffee people want. Where it's like, oh, we want a rich, dark blend, but in reality, they want a softer, more light blend. People say a lot of things that they want, but they kind of don't.
Fans don't know what they want from
be
things.
careful what you wish for, because a lot of these people who like talk about like how, oh my god, the Nintendo Direct has happened for an entire year. It's what we need. Nintendo, why are you doing this? Why do you hate us? And then it happens, and they're like, oh right, I never liked these.
Yeah, that's always like the takeaway. They're always like, this latest Direct kind of sucked, and they always say that.
Yeah.
It's not just
Because,
that they
like,
sucked.
can
They
you imagine,
killed our
like-
parents, kind of. Like, it's that level of grief. It's like,
Yeah.
why didn't you show Zelda? Why didn't you show the 30th anniversary stuff? Why is this happening? What is Skyward Sword? It's not enough. Please give me all the games. We're in the beginning of the year, everyone. We're in February. Please. It's fine. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, already
It's
seeing
not-
like the videos of people being like, Nintendo's 2021 lineup, it looks very weak right now. Is this all they've got? And it's like, no, of course it's not all they've got.
Like 1st of January, that's when they dropped that video. I don't know, guys. I'm really scared about Nintendo. What is gonna happen? We don't know anything. Like I heard this is like, I'm really I don't want to be mean to anyone, but I feel it's kind of odd to hear someone like in January say that after Super Mario 3D World, we have nothing to be excited about. And that's like, dude, that game has not even released yet.
But also, there's like new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, Monster
yes,
Hunter.
And it's like, man, you can't, like, sorry, but we can't talk about games like that we have nothing to be excited about even before we have gotten the things to be excited about. Like, please calm
It's
your
kind of odd
ass.
when people were like over Bowser's Fury before it was released, and you're like, wow,
Yeah, it's.
do you
So-
even need games?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, isn't it? It's like a sign that people are more interested in the hype
In the hype.
cycle than the games themselves. People
Yeah.
like the discourse and like seeing what they could potentially buy, but not actually buying and
Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
what they're talking
like-
about.
Like, I get it. I get it. I do. It's fun to be excited for things,
Mhm.
especially in these days. It's a fun thing to do. We want to be excited about things, and talking about things that we are excited about is even more fun.
Mhm.
But there is a limit. You have to be careful to not fall into the trap where you become so demanding and kind of obsessed with this hype train. You need to chill down for a moment, and maybe then you can be a bit more, I don't know, enjoy yourself a bit more. Maybe like I don't know.
Yeah, it's like really I guess disheartening to see when it's like yeah, they said they were gonna show games for the first half of the year, and that's what they did.
They
They
did.
even showed some for next year.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
chose Splatoon 3.
Yeah, Nintendo feeling like 2022 lands somewhere in between April 2021 and May 2021.
Well, I think a lot of that is just because if they did reveal a big holiday game, see, like, I know one of the things that people memed about was like, oh, well, we have nothing to show regarding Breath of the Wild 2, and everyone was like, that game was delayed, and I of course can't make that call. No one can make that call. No one like knows when they are
Yeah.
targeting that game to be released. But if they showed anything regarding Breath of the Wild 2, it would have completely negated literally anything else they would have showed in that
Yeah.
nearly an hour of video games, because it's like the biggest game they have.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest problems with Directs. Like Directs, the advantage of getting all of this news together is that people will come for the big stuff and then they'll get exposure to smaller titles that may not otherwise get it. But then you have the reverse issue where my favorite example of this is Cadence of Hyrule, when that got announced in an indie direct.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing people talked about, I think, in that indie direct. And
Yeah.
the same thing happened with No More Heroes when they revealed its crossover with indie stuff in that indie direct.
Yep.
That was the only thing people actually talked about.
Wasn't Age of Calamity also revealed in a partner showcase? And
No,
that was everything.
no,
people
no,
talked
no,
about?
No, they
It was
just
that one.
Twitter dropped that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I think, I kind of lost myself now.
That's all right.
No, but like you can probably like just the fact that we got them saying we will have more information this year should be enough for people to feel content or at least safe to some extent. Like, oh well, we know that that's something to look forward to, and you can bet your ass that they are gonna make a Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 specific direct that is gonna go through what the fuck is happening and so on.
Like,
especially if it's being released this year, which is still on the table. It's not impossible.
I guess, but like, I don't think I really don't think we should be like, oh, it's gonna, because there were people who expected that game to release this spring, and it's like, well,
no,
don't expect it to be like in the close future until we know. But like, because like there is Breath of the Wild 2, people are like expecting it around the corner forever until it arrives. And there's also like Metroid Prime 4, which like people actually expected them to like show that game.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, but like they did restart the development, and I'm 100% sure that Metroid Prime 4 will not be like shown at all until it's very close, because they kind of screwed up with that game before, and I think they're like, we're taking every precaution to not like risk any delay or anything about this again, because like we can't do that PR anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Plus, we're still in the middle of the global pandemic that's like causing games to delay left and right. Still, like it hasn't gone away, and it's. I remember I think it was like the October partner showcase, and people were like, well, everyone else is announcing stuff, and I'm like, who? It's like even Sony and Microsoft like announce like 50 games that don't have a release date. They're just like, they exist, I guess.
Yeah. My favorite one is the comparison where, well, Microsoft and Sony released one console each, and it's like,
the entire thing about
maybe they shouldn't.
I mean,
the thing is,
did
they were slated to release those this last autumn. They're in a competition, like they shouldn't, with all things considered, but they're like, if we push this, we will like follow the plan, and if we don't, if any of them like backs down and like, no, we're doing it next year, then the other one would be like, full speed ahead, we're doing this, we're going ahead, we're like taking the opportunity, because like and that like standstill just made them like, well, we have to do this now. That's just capitalism, I guess.
Being the first out the door is the race to it. I mean, I would argue that neither of them have released, because I can't find either of them anywhere, and I haven't for 4 months. So
it's fine.
I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it is just people kind of like within their own bubble of like their own respective like video game tastes, and that's all like fine and good. But they can never like. I've noticed that people really like to latch on to games they like, but they never consider like games other people might like. Like it's so weird how people will put up a flag that they're like, yeah, I hate JRPGs, and it's like, cool. Like I don't play JRPGs either, but I know like 5 people who do. So like they can have the 3 JRPGs they showed off in the direct. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's not like
it's fine. Like people are too quick to just make the statement that there was nothing people care about.
Can you imagine a direct with like that's filled with things that everyone cares about?
Literally pleases everybody.
Yeah.
Oh god, you can't do that.
No.
It's impossible.
Like I don't know. This direct 2 was like, at least you had like Mario Golf, for example, which is one of those titles that it makes sense to not overshadow too much, because you want that title to sell in the beginning of the year. And even if you show Splatoon, it's so far in the distance that you can just say,
Well-
well, it's not yet, so don't worry.
The fact that they even showed Splatoon 3 is like, obviously Nintendo cares about your hype, boys. It's like,
Yes, they do.
I think the fact that that's a 2022 title is the reason why they put it in. Not
Yeah.
just as like a softening blow to like to not make it overshadow everything else.
yep.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, here's Splatoon 3 later.
Yeah,
Just
but that's kind of the pattern with Nintendo Directs. Like, they show
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff that's like in the near future, and like, sometimes they begin with something major, but like, it's always like the last big thing,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
it's always something like a bit ahead in the future. Like, that's when they do the big drops. Like, you probably shouldn't expect more than like one big drop from a Nintendo Direct.
You
Pretty
shouldn't
much.
you shouldn't expect anything really. That's the easiest way to just deal with these things. Like,
Yeah.
you can still make predictions or like assumptions about what's going to happen, but I don't think you should really put a lot of stock in like thinking things will happen, because you will just get disappointed. Like, if you are still sitting there and thinking, yeah, this is gonna be the time when F-Zero happens, just imagine if you sat instead and like, F-Zero might never happen. Like,
Yeah,
how
Mhm.
excited you're gonna be if it actually happens in the future. That's gonna be awesome,
Yeah.
when you don't have any expectations at all.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We're like, ugh. And I think, well, the whole narrative are like, well, we haven't had a Nintendo Direct in like 1.5 years, but it's like we had a bunch of directs in between, but they're not real directs, or whatever.
They're not
and
real
then
ones,
you're like
yeah.
doing this narrative that Nintendo have not shown anything in 1.5 years, so now they're going to do the big stuff. And it's like,
They just saved
there's no guarantee for this.
They're
Like,
doing the
they
blowout,
didn't
giving
have-
us everything that we ever wanted now. Because
Yeah,
we've
they
been
saved
sitting
up
on it.
everything. Just think about it. Nothing happened last year.
They only released
So-
like 10 plus games
Yeah,
or something. like that.
nothing happened last year. So this year, they're gonna pull out the big guns. They're gonna have everything that was like pushed forward, as well as everything they planned. Think about that. They pushed forward so many games, probably like F-Zero, Metro Prime 4, the game you really wanted, a real Paper Mario game. They pushed all of those games forward, and then they had games that they were also planning for this year. Oh my god, we're gonna have a direct that is like, this is the entire year. You're gonna get all of this
It's 2
shit.
years in 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
gosh.
Open up the vault and be like, help yourself. Take whatever's there. This is it. It's all
I
going
think,
on
like,
the
the
Switch.
Yeah. I think the healthiest approach, like Nintendo Directs, is like, expect. Well, you should expect. Well, sometimes it doesn't happen. Like, usually there should be like one thing that's like, oh, it's for you, and then everyone else gets a Christmas present. You don't get all of them. But like, I think my favorite like example of that, where it's like, oh, this was the me thing, was
Metopia.
No,
Oh.
but like last spring when they did like the general mini direct, there was like a full direct, just not Nintendo. People are very unfavorable to that direct. I remember, but like for me,
Mhm.
they did like the clip reel of like just bam, bam, bam. Here are some games.
Mhm.
And they had like Mr. Driller for Switch, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's it. That's me. That's so." Like, in my head, my brain just files that Spring Direct from last year is like the Mr. Driller Direct.
The best one.
But that is like, that's, I mean, when we at Source Gaming, we did the reaction, I think we had like 6 people watching, and like that's like the perfect amount of people to watch like a direct, because it's like someone is going to get at least like 3 or 4 things that they're like interested in, and that's like the point. I don't think the I don't know. I don't think there's like a single person who's ever watched a direct and been like, yeah, every single thing appeals to me. Wow. Like that, like I'm gonna looks like I'm spending like my 401k on video games this year. Like,
and I think the best example I can think of for this from the recent direct is that DC Supergirls game that made me feel like an old man while I watched it, because no one I watched it with was interested in it. Yet someone in this very chat that I'm looking at now earlier said, "Yeah, I really liked the look of that game," and it
like
appeals to him.
I have nothing against the look necessarily.
Yeah.
It's more like for me personally, it was like, yeah, I can see why someone would like this, but I don't know.
I mean, in a showcase, like 50-minute showcase, then it's like, oh, here's the game I don't care about. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But someone clearly did in our chat. So the game, even the game that I was least interested in, appealed to somebody.
Yeah, I'm really like that's you have to. That's true. You have to recognize that. It's like Kiki said, you get a birthday present or a Christmas present, and that's it. You have to be nice and let everyone else get one as well. You can't just steal Santa's freaking
Santa's
sack full of presents.
Be like, what the fuck is DC Girls?
maybe just consider this. Maybe it's not for you. It's hard sometimes to realize that, oh no, these things are not always for me.
it's just really funny too, because it's like, it's like the trailer's over in like 2 minutes, like whatever, just like look away. Like,
go get a glass of water.
The same thing happened with like Knockout City. Everyone was talking about like that trailer and just being like, oh, that was just like the worst thing ever, and I'm like, I forgot about the trailer. I just thought the game was cool.
Which one is Knockout City?
That was the like
the dodgeball game with the trailer with all the different
okay.
video games.
The trailer
the thing
really
about that
bad.
was like,
the trailer was bad.
Well, they did kind of trick you in like expecting something else, and I do think that like that probably soured a lot of people's like expectations. Where like, oh, look at this cool pixel princess that everyone likes, and she's not in the game.
It was very strange having the different genre characters from different genres all chatting, and then the game itself looks nothing like any of them do.
I kind of get what they were going for, but it could have been done way better.
I think I get what they're going for. But...
You can just have shown it as, because it is another one of those like Apex Legends, Fortnite likes, in visual style, and how it's like a multiplayer game and whatever that appeals to that demographic. But like you could just have shown that game, because I'm sure like a dodgeball game with a bunch of cool moves and stuff.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty fun. You can show that and be like, this is hype. Just look at this fucking shit. Just show some cool tricks, how you parkour around and you like just dunk someone out of existence.
Yeah. A big team-based dodgeball in like different open maps where you can hide around corners and like in some really cool environments. Sounds fun, and they just sort of portrayed it in a really strange way. It's a shame because the studio made it the same people who made that Mario Kart Live home circuit game from last year.
Oh my god!
I'm like interested in actually seeing how it plays and what they do with it, because I was very impressed with the live home circuit. But the trailer didn't sell on anything, and I don't know if they put the trailer together, if EA hired some third party to put the trailer together. I know that they got freelancers to make like the sprite work and stuff for the one character. So it might have just been someone's weird idea, some sort of outside influence. But yeah, it should have been done better.
I remember there was like a rumor like mid last year when like the Mario 35 stuff was kicking up, and they were like, yeah, the second half of this year, let me tell you, it's gonna have 3D All-Stars, it's gonna have 3D World, it's gonna have Paper Mario, it's gonna have a new Mario Kart. And I remember reading that and going, yeah, no thanks. Like I love me some Mario, but holy shit, like that is like Mario oversaturation.
And
But
then
I
all of it happened.
Sort of.
Sort of, but like
but much more like stretched out and not in the span of like
and also
4
like
months.
very special Mario Kart and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I guess that's like the thing that people expect. They just expect like, yeah, we're just gonna get like 6 Mario games in the span of like 4 months. That's just gonna be Nintendo's 2020.
Yeah, unreasonable.
Mhm.
And it's
It's
like, yeah, even they wouldn't do that.
like Paper Mario was good, by the way.
Yeah, I
Paper
think
Mario
Paper
Origami
Mario
King.
I
was
have
very
nothing
good.
against it. I
Paper
really
Mario
liked it.
Origami King was really good.
Mhm.
Uh,
I agree. It
I'm
it
a-
has some issues in places, but
yeah,
like
but,
it was
like-
definitely a step up from. I like Color Splash. I think it was a step up from that. I think
yeah.
the combat is nearly there, but everything else around it was pretty perfect.
Yeah. Like man, I'm a fan of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door
Mhm.
as well as other people are. But
That
it's
was
like
17 years
yeah,
ago.
it was 17 years ago. Like it was a long time ago. I just, let go.
Yeah,
It was like and try to, especially this one, I was like, okay, take me on your trip. What do you want to do? Like, because it felt like sort of that kind of thing where if I just changed perspective a bit and let them just roll me up around in a wheelbarrow or whatever, like where they wanted to go, then it was fine. I think it's really a nice little game. It's a cool game.
People want Paper Mario to be an RPG again, and then they show like 3 RPGs in the Nintendo Direct, and they're like, "Oh, it's too
Yeah.
much for me." It's
And like I don't know, like I don't necessarily like. I get that a lot of people think that just like getting back that stuff, like the RPG elements, are gonna like solve everything. But it's not like. I don't know. Like you could solve this in other ways. I think
Yeah.
that Origami King does a kind of good job with those things because, like, at least the battles are moving more towards being like puzzles than
Mhm.
actually
Yeah.
like focusing on just being the battle part. Like,
Yeah.
it's like if you think that the battles are interesting from a perspective of being like small puzzle boxes, then it does not really matter maybe
Yeah,
that you don't get XP at the end. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think my only issue with the puzzles and that was that they worked perfectly fine for the bosses, but after a certain time, you're getting the same puzzle handed to you again and again for the regular enemies.
Yeah, the small ones are like the smaller
Yeah.
ones are kind of but
It
they're so
depends.
quick.
Sometimes it's like, oh shit, I don't remember how I did this one. But like,
Mhm. Sometimes
really,
it's literally just turning the middle one like 3 to the right,
Yeah.
and then you have to do that. over
really,
and
the
over.
thing with like Paper Mario, I firmly believe that you can do Paper Mario in a lot of different ways
Oh,
that
yeah.
are not like expected and still be good. Because like,
I think the only
Yeah.
the only thing I think Origami King needed was to have maybe a bit more of an active battle system. It didn't need to be turn-based, didn't need to be an RPG. I think the third type, because there's like 3 battle systems that game, the weird puzzle turning one, then the sort of choo-choo rocket-esque boss battles, and then you've got like the active ones where you're dodging the big paper mache creatures. And if they had just focused on one of them, and like maybe the paper mache one, and just focused on that and expanding Mario's moveset around that, then I think it would have been fine. Like,
I'm thinking
that's it.
I'm thinking too, sort of like I see why Nintendo went this route, because when Sticker Star came out, we already had another RPG Mario franchise.
Mhm.
We already had Mario and Luigi. Like having both of them, I can see why they would think that, oh, maybe we should take one of these in another direction. And then maybe Paper Mario was more logical to take into the step of, well, it's paper, so let's do stuff with that instead.
Yeah.
Like just make it into a little puzzle thing where you solve problems in a paper world by doing paper things. But now, at this point, Mario and Luigi seems to be kind of dead.
Well,
unfortunately,
the developers are, but like, I mean, Nintendo still owns that franchise.
That's true,
Yes,
but it's
but
also
it's
not a good sign. I feel like
Yeah,
Nintendo
of course not.
doesn't like the reason we haven't had another Golden Sun as an example is because
Yeah.
Camelot care more about making the Mario sports games,
Yep.
and Nintendo won't do Golden Sun themselves or let other people do it because they've got too much stuff on their plate. And I think
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi falls into the same boat. I think we're more likely to get Square doing a Mario RPG 2 than we do having someone else do a Mario and Luigi, the 8 or whatever number we're on.
Yeah, like at this point, there is kind of a hole, I think, to fill. They could take the mechanics of Mario and Luigi and place it on Paper Mario, but then again, that would take away a bit of the fun because, like, the unity between Mario and Luigi in those games is what makes that battle system so fun. It kind of took Paper Mario but evolved it, made it even more interactable. Sort of.
It's now that this is the time now for like indie spiritual successor to Mario and Luigi to prop up and fill that gap, and let Nintendo do whatever next with Mario. Because I'm sure Mario will have an RPG again at some point, whether it
probably.
be Paper Mario or just something else entirely. Because they know that there's definitely a market for it. It was just might not be Mario and Luigi.
I kind of the only thing I really wanted from the old Mario games, like them to take more inspiration from the old Paper Mario games, is the characters. Like the writing in Origami King is fucking great.
I love it.
It's
a
funny,
very funny
it's
game.
clever,
It's a very fun game.
and it does a bunch of cool stuff. And it's serious when it needs to, and all that stuff. But and it has some weird body horror stuff, which is awesome. But like, I would really like to see them go back to making more characters and like differentiate all the Koopas and stuff. I see why they don't do that, but at the same time, I think that's mostly what people want. I think people would be okay with the RPG not being fully like level based and all that stuff. If they just went back and let like there be a girl Koopa with cool braids, I think people would be okay with like the other changes if that came back. We want Goombella because she's cool. We want to like, honestly, if we were gonna be like this too, we need more like female characters in this fucking joint here. We need those girl Koopas.
I think that they're slowly edging towards trying to get back to that, because like Origami King has like sections like the Japan theme park where the characters are wearing wigs and vaguely dressed up, but they still look like Goombas and Koopa Troopers. And I think from Mario Golf as well, for the new one, they're obviously all wearing silly golfing attire and different outfits and all that. That like push it a little bit further as well. And I think this is pretty much it. As long as they look like the characters, as long as they look like Goombas and Koopas, it doesn't matter what they wear. And I think the Paper Mario team is slowly seeing where they can push the border of that. Because they're obviously aware that people want to see things to be more different.
Oh yeah,
people don't
totally
want the new Super Mario Brothers. And Odyssey was accepted so well for being so completely different in how it's in its worlds and presentation. So I can see them sort of trying to get back to where they were. They just don't want to go full ham like they did in the GameCube and early Wii era, where you've got games like Super Paper Mario that basically aren't Mario games other than the fact that Mario, Luigi, Bowser, and Peach are there.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to avoid. But yeah, I agree. We do need more characters like Koopy, Koopa, and Gumbella.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a slight tangent off of that.
Yes.
Do we have anything else we want to say about the Nintendo Direct?
I mean,
if
were
not,
we gonna talk about the new Smash character?
I mean, yeah, Pyra and Mithra. We can talk about them. I've talked a lot, I guess, on Twitter. About the. I think Xenoblade was one of the few first-party series that I was a-okay with getting another character in Smash.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post the thing. I'm gonna post the comment that we got on our reaction because it makes me laugh every single time I see it. It's so fucking funny. Here it is. I posted it. Mario 87456. Fuck you! All you should be fucking pissed.
Mario, what's your language?
You are my friend, Mario. What is this?
Yeah, what is this? What is happening?
It's just it's so funny because we were like, yeah, like that makes sense because we were kind of expecting a first party character. Because we were like, man, things have been quiet. I wonder, people haven't just we haven't had like some random quote unquote insider go on Reddit and go, yeah, it's Crash Bandicoot. Like we haven't like I guess it's a first party character, and then it was, and it was like, I think of the first party characters they could have chosen, I think Pyra was probably the best choice, just in regards to potentially like pleasing people, because I don't know how that would have gone over if they chose like a Pokemon.
Yeah,
people would have flipped their lid.
Like the thing is, I don't think we will see a Pokemon in this batch or ever. Same. Really, because like a lot of these first party things you saw with Min as well, and now with Pyra, we are getting more female representation, but also these are from franchises that are successful, but not as successful as they could be. So if you want to do patterns, which Super Smash Bros. Dudes want to do, they love to find patterns in the clouds and stuff like that.
Okay.
You kind of can see that. Yeah. So when Nintendo do the first party things here, they kind of want to push like popular things, but possibly make them more popular through this, because it's been shown that it works to some extent, and hopefully it will work for them as well. Like Pyra is a good choice, I think, because at least it's not Rex. I think it's like, it would be really boring to have both Shulk and Rex, because they are different. But they are also kind of similar.
Yeah, Rex's only thing that would have made him stand out is if he had Pyra supporting him, like it's like a 2-4 Ice Climbers type thing. Because I mean, that's kind of how they are in the games already.
There was like another comment we got. I mean, I don't mean to like shit on people who make comments on our videos, but some of them are really funny sometimes.
Please do more comments on our videos.
Because one of the another comment we got was like, you know, Min and Pyra are good choices, but they're not exactly like the box art characters for those games. And I'm like, Pyra's on the box,
yes,
front and back.
Yeah, like she's an important. However you slice it, Pyra is an important character, and I think it's kind of neat to make just this where Rex still appears. It's kind of a juxtaposition thing where they like switch it up, where in the game Rex is their relationship is more like, you know, Rex and she is the sword thing, you know. But here it's the opposite kind of thing going on, which is kind of cool. Like I don't really like Pyra's design. It's like it's so much.
It's very messy. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot going on, and they even changed the designs for Smash Bros. To be a bit less revealing,
Yeah, appeals to
which I
Sarah.
think is probably a good idea.
To be fair, I think Mythra's outfit is better in Smash than it is in the base game. Pyro's is a little weird. It's like she's wearing tights on, like, black tights on the.
Yeah.
It feels like it should be something else, I guess. I don't know. Without saying trousers. or just longer shorts. Just extend how far shorts go. But
like it's good also maybe that Pyra's the main character here. Because if you like looking at the original game, not to be too like analyze it too much, but the idea it's kind of ironic, to make this kind of sexy designed character into a literal sword that you're using. It's like, man, okay, like if you say so. It's kind of weird. So it's kind of nice to see her at least, get to be the main one, because she has this character and story inside of that game, which I think is important.
She's arguably the main character, especially when you consider Mythra and the Torna side of things.
Yes.
Like, she's the one through line that goes through everything. We actually have no connection. Rex himself has no connection to anything that happens 100 years prior, despite all the potential hinting that maybe he could be connected to Adam in some way. It's never confirmed.
Kind of,
he's just there.
He's like the what do you call it? Out of water character.
Fish out of water.
Fish out of water.
Isekai.
Huh?
The Isekai protagonist.
Yeah, Isekai. He's just a guy. He's just a guy who's there, like, oh, I'm gonna do the thing, and then we have the character who's actually more important. But like, that's sort of why I think it bothers me so much, her design, just because she is a kind of fun and interesting character, and I don't know. It feels like you didn't have to you didn't have to do that. Yeah,
I think that's a problem with a lot of the Blade designs, at least. People crap over the designs of characters in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I actually think all of the drivers have pretty good designs, and then all of the blades or the majority of the blades have really bad designs. And it's weird. It's because they think like, oh, well, the blades are meant to be weird and supernatural and can literally be anything, which means we don't have to have any consistency or realism to how we're designing them. And then that causes like half of them to come off as way too sexualized than they need to be.
And, it's a fun game to look at and just analyze through like these perspectives. It gives you a lot. Like when you look at this through a feminist perspective, don't lose your shit, everyone. It's like, if you look at it through that perspective, like I'm of course not angry about Xenoblade 2. Like it's a weird. I think it's not worth being mad about. It's more like it's kind of fun, when it gives you a lot of stuff to analyze and look at, and
gives you things to work with.
Yeah, exactly. And that, like, if I would do a video about that and like talk about it more in depth, I would mostly like think it's kind of like interesting. It's almost like it gives me something to tangle with instead of just being like bland or something like that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But in Smash, going back to that,
yes,
I do think they're good. I like the fact that because there's two of them and they're different enough that it's like getting two. We are in fact getting two characters for the price of one. I mean, obviously we won't know until Sakurai does his little direct in March how different they are. But just from like initial trailers, I feel like there's only a handful of moves that they share like up tilts and stuff, whereas all the specials and the final smash, the final smash is a cutscene one, but it at least looks different, which is good because like it makes them feel two characters that could almost play identically and could be counted as just a stance change. Do not. They're two separate characters, so whichever one you prefer using the most, whichever one you prefer out of Pyra and Mithra, you got that choice to play as them and enjoy them, and you don't even have to go to the other one if you don't want. And I like that. I think it's a good way to appeal, and it's just good for DLC as well. Give us more. But I enjoyed their reveal. Like I said, Xenoblade was one of those series that I feel like it's gotten big enough since Shulk got added to Smash that it could have got a second one. It kind of shows that Nintendo value its worth as an IP, and it might be like their biggest actual RPG series.
Yeah.
That they like proper JRPG, not like including tactical RPGs, in which case it'd be Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah.
But like traditional JRPGs, Xenoblade is up there now. I would argue it's more valuable than the mother IP, which I know is the one that most people put as the top dog.
We saw some people like talk about there being a Earthbound rep.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna happen.
But it's not. You have to. I think
I would love that. That's not gonna happen.
I think you have to understand to some extent, like the characters that are happening in these passes are partly Nintendo characters that are popular, but they want to push a bit more. And then we have, of course, the third-party characters that are fire. They are lit as fuck.
We were thinking
and like Earthbound.
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, do the Earthbound thing.
No, before that, like the Earthbound is nothing has happened with that series for so long. That would be at this point, it would be a deep cut, and I don't know if they would do a deep cut as a downloadable character.
No, it's definitely more of a base game pick.
Yes.
It's like King K. Rool. A lot of people wanted King K. Rool for DLC in Smash 4, but really, he hadn't been in a game in nearly a decade at that point.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I never really think about that, but like, these are separate DLC characters that people have to pay for,
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of can't be too niche now.
That's why I don't think you would get Gino, for example.
Of course
like
not.
Gino is like I would love to see it happen just because like people have asked for this since Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, since the original.
Nintendo 64. Like, but I don't think it's big enough or actually worth it for Nintendo as a company, sadly. To do such a thing. I think if you look at I can't quote it perfectly, but the things that Sakurai said about what goes into the considerations for making a character actually happen are like good ways to actually figure out if something is plausible, especially in the DLC department. Probably.
We got a super chat from one of our staff members, Spazzy D, and he says Pokemon is their top RPG, which I guess is right. In fact, he says top RPG because he can't spell. But, I mean, all right, it's technically Pokemon is their top RPG. But I was not including Pokemon because Nintendo almost never includes Pokemon in their own things. It's its own branch of stuff that we'll probably hear more about this coming week. But
exactly.
You're right on the Geno front of things. It's like that would be there purely for Smash fans and only Smash fans. But unlike Banjo and Kazooie, which I would argue is almost sort of the same thing, they're hardly the most relevant of characters. That still creates like a good relationship with a third party client, and Banjo and Kazooie are still the main characters of their own series that was popular at least for a time back in the early 2000s, late 90s, which Gino
Banjo
was a side character in.
Banjo just has so much like baggage, just like because of just the general history and it being a franchise that not just Nintendo fans want back.
Yeah.
In a sense. But yeah, I don't know. I like. I think the one take I've seen that's kind of annoyed me is the folks saying like, oh, like this must really be the budget pass because they're putting Nintendo's own characters in, and it's like,
oh my god,
and it's like, no, yeah, Nintendo's putting their own characters in their own video game. What a shocker! Like, stop the presses.
People should expect that because, like, obviously they want that.
Yeah,
it's happened in the first pass. It's happening in this one. Third-party characters are a big deal, but they're not the only ones. Nintendo, of course, want to promote their own stuff and not just characters that they can't use in the future.
I don't think we should like really expect the default to be third-party characters because like that is a big deal. Well, we were talking about like the pattern thing, and so like this last
honestly, the fact that there's so many third-party characters in Ultimate is like shocking. It's like
it is
like,
very like surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But so like this last Fighters Pass had like Min Min and then Pyra, and so like those are newer Nintendo franchises with like that they're seemingly trying to boost, and I'm thinking like maybe we should like look at that pattern because like Xenoblade 2 and ARMS was 2017. And I'm thinking like,
what else was
released? Gosh, are they doing like a Rabbids character? But there has to be like some space. I was thinking about like Astral Chain because that they bought the rights to that one too. Like that would fit in too. But it's Astral a bit too recent for it to be like a DLC thing, I think.
So something that I pointed out to people in Discord is that both ARMS and Xenoblade 2 are games that Sakurai commented on back when Smash first came out, basically saying like, yeah, if we had actually had more, if these games had released earlier, if we were doing a proper Smash Brothers where we were going to have the usual 16, 18 newcomers instead of the 5 or 6 because they were bringing every character back, we would have definitely, well no, he didn't say definitely, we would have probably included a character from both ARMS and Xenoblade 2. But because they didn't, because it was too late, we're having the assist trophy and the Mii costumes instead. But the fact that he like commented that both of these are games that would have got characters, and now lo and behold in the DLC they're both getting these characters, is I think another way to look at it. Which characters did Sakurai think about would be good for the base game and just didn't get a chance to include? Or at least what games was Sakurai considering pulling characters from? That maybe those are the only two he's actively commented on, which is how we could get this. So we don't know what other stuff he was thinking in his mind. But you're right, 2017 could be a good time to be looking at stuff we could get. If he was considering another Zelda character, and hey, there's a Breath of the Wild 2 potentially this year, then that's another potential option that they could do. Or if they really wanted to appeal to more fan requests, I mean, I still think Dixie Kong and a new Kirby character are two of the big first parties that people have been requesting that are absent in any sort of way, not even assist trophies like Isaac is. So those could also be options. I think
it's just also really funny to see people say like, oh yeah, this is the budget pass, like the same one with Steve and Sephiroth. Like the biggest third-party characters they could have possibly have gotten.
Like Sephiroth has been asked for. I remember being like a little kid and being on forums where people just said, I want to see Sephiroth, and also
like, they will never do that.
Yeah, like in the same breath as Goku, sort of. You know, it's been there for a long time. This is obviously like a fan servicey thing for sure. It's not like Cloud is already in there, so people didn't expect it even, which is even better.
Yeah.
Actually.
Also,
Sephiroth was
I'm
hyped because he was
sure
different.
I'm sure like the rights and licensing are probably like not even close to being the most expensive part of these characters.
Yeah, no.
Like it's probably, you know, the development. like the actual like man hours to make
them.
these things.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's not Sakurai doing everything himself?
Sakurai has a magic keyboard.
Yeah.
He has
Types what he thinks, and it just happens.
Sephiroth.
Oh yeah,
Pulls out his
pulling Sephiroth. It's like, there it is.
he pulls out his two
It's the
Switch
Super
Pro
Mario
controllers
64
and it's done.
AI. It just wills them into. I'm yeah.
Existence.
I'm really glad they used the Super Mario 64 AI to something good.
To make games, yeah.
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 That's the secret. It's just that's what makes Nintendo
It always
games.
has been since 1996.
It's a secret room in his house that he has to backwards long jump up the stairs.
Oh my god.
Yes. This is
Well,
why he stopped
speaking of
filming at
Nintendo
home.
64 games, though, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep, this is a good way to go through. First off, it's Star Fox's anniversary today, woo.
Wow.
I don't know what age
Awesome.
it is, but there we go. And coincidentally, Dinosaur Planet, the game that became Star Fox Adventure, got released to the public. Not by Nintendo or Rare or Microsoft, but by people who bought a prototype copy of the game and just dumped the ROM. And
Star Fox is 28.
28. Awesome.
The story is so funny because there's always people on eBay that are like, yeah, man, I got that Conker's 12 Tales beta, and it's like they'll just like take some like dev cart that they bought for like $2 and they'll just write Conker 12 Tales on it in Sharpie and try to pass it off as like a real thing. But then it's like this completely unassuming CDR that just has an N64 ROM on it.
It was in Sweden too. Like
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe we've been close to it. I don't know.
That ROM has been sitting just down the road from you guys
Yeah.
for,
Like-
for years now.
It could have been like, I don't know. Like maybe I've even met the person like had it. I don't know.
Man.
It was such a surprise because Dinosaur Planet is one of those beta games that I think has a ton of attention on it because of the fact that it became such a big game for the GameCube from a big company like Rare, who were the hot shit back in the late 90s
Yeah.
for gamers.
But it was also like their last mainline Nintendo.
Yeah.
Well,
It was their big last project before they got sold
They-
to Microsoft.
they did like the Game Advance games after, where it was published by
Yeah,
THQ
Banjo,
and
Banjo Pilot and Banjo Kazooie balls and bags. I don't know.
Balls and bags.
Balls
What?
and bags.
What?
Ah, yes, the Lost Banjo game.
I don't.
But yeah, no, Dinosaur Planet is it's one of those beta games that people talk about so much, and we had footage of and all this, but people only ever played at events. And now we have it, and we can play it on emulators, and people can play it on flash carts. And it's super interesting because when I went into this weekend, it was not something I was expecting to be able to play.
No. Yeah, it's
Very
like
cool.
oh,
Rare fans have been eating good this year. GoldenEye, like the remake leaked, and now this.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting
I mean,
Banjo
like,
good
3
month.
next.
it's been a really good month.
But like this last half year with like the Nintendo 64 in general, like the Giga Leak and the Zelda,
Yeah.
and, like
Mhm.
oh my gosh, like we're just opening all the boxes. Like I remember so vividly like watching small clips from Dinosaur Planet on like the internet and being like, what if this game was like, what if I could play this game? That's never going to happen.
Mm.
And now.
And then I'm playing it and I'm like,
childhood dreams.
oh, it's that game. And like, you know, used to get like to the point instantly. I really liked Star Fox Adventures as a kid.
Of course.
Well, And I'm playing this now, and I'm like, oh gosh, this Dinosaur Planet is better than Star Fox Adventures already.
I'm waiting to get to that. I wanted to make sure I played through the games that I was currently playing before I actually got into it, but I did sink my teeth into Dinosaur Planet a little bit and got past the opening for Crystal and started playing as Fox. It's really funny that you can sort of tell the development of where this happened, where they still refer to, on Crystal's side anyway, refer to Fox as Saber, but then Fox is there, calls himself Fox, and has a much higher quality model than anyone else does in the game.
Yeah.
And a sword.
And a sword.
You know, what's kind of strange with all that is, it makes so much sense now. Like, just how the development kind of got flipped upside down at that point. Because, like, just, you see, like, parts of this. Like, when you get to this Fox part, like, the cutscene is basically the same. Like, the camera angles and everything. And you start thinking, like, man, this game must have been like a real hodgepodge of just ideas and things that just got repurposed and then put together. Like, and it makes so much sense now, because Star Fox Adventures was always kind of weird.
Yeah.
It felt like there were pieces missing.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there were pieces missing.
Because, like, I remember always thinking, like, the world design is so, like, narrow, and then, like, the progression, like, you only do, there are no side quests or anything, you just go forward. Like, the only thing you have is, like, the percentage marker and everything. Like, it feels very strangely restrictive, like a GameCube game, and then you play it in Nintendo 64 one, and you're like, well, of course it was very restrictive, because, like, this is the most amazing Nintendo 64 game ever. They probably couldn't do very much with it.
Yeah, it's an incredible 64 game, but that makes it end up being a not so great GameCube game. Yeah. Because it was pretty much just designed for one system and brought over to another.
I was always kind of fascinated how, like, the N64 ended on, like, such a whimper. Like, it ended on such, like, a like, it's almost like games that were planned, like, the whole library just stops at the year 2000, and then it was just, everything was brought to the GameCube. And I'm guessing that was just Nintendo going, like, oh, like, because at that point the N64 was, like, the console that didn't do as good as the NES or the Super Nintendo, and they already had, like, the Virtual Boy failure under their belts. So it's like, oh, we gotta make the GameCube even cooler and better, and so you just have all this stuff brought over, and it's kind of crazy, because like, as an N64 game, Dinosaur Planet is really, like, impressive to look. I haven't played it yet because I have to perform, like, a horror crux on my flash cart to get it to run. But I'll get to that soonish.
I've played a bit of it, like I mentioned, enough to just try it out. But I'll jump into it properly this week, probably at some point once I get through my next video.
I'm surprised so much, like, N64 stuff is coming out now. Like, I guess it's not, like, with the Giga Leak, it's, like, not surprising, because they've just been holding on to all this stuff, presumably for, you know, just archival purposes. But because the 5th generation is, like, not, like, that sort of, like, development period of games is, like, not covered, because it's not like the 8-bit and 16-bit era where people were just throwing out development carts, and then some guy's like, whoa, it's an Earthbound prototype just in the trash.
Gosh.
It's just the whole translation of Mother 1. What the fuck is
so
this?
Strange, yeah.
But then with the 6th generation and onward, you just have, like, people hacking into Valve's Outlook and just leaking all of Half-Life 2 through development. But then with the 5th gen, there's always just been a consensus that all that stuff is just lost, because developers would just go, oh, and just wipe it and toss it or something. But it's actually crazy to see that, no, this stuff is still around. Like, people still have these beta builds of games that were not even released, at least in their, like, in that form.
Yeah.
Well, in one sense, like the Giga Leak, the GoldenEye thing. Well, not the GoldenEye thing, but like the Zelda and Star. Like these were all connected to Nintendo, and I think Nintendo are
Yeah.
probably a bit special in this regard, but like just saving everything, because like Square
Especially
are
for
infamous
Japanese
for like just
yeah.
deleting
Yeah.
everything all of the time, and then they're like, "Oh, we got to release the game again." Oh, well, that's not gonna happen.
Final Fantasy VIII every time.
Yeah, I imagine Nintendo does like the Disney thing where they just have an archive that like general employees can just walk into and go, "Wow, all right, I'll consider that." Kind of thing.
I think so. If they're working on a sequel to a game or a remake, they can literally just go in, grab a copy of that game in whatever state saved version of that state they've got it in, and play it and get feels with it. Like, Nintendo will have this version of Dinosaur Planet saved somewhere in their archives.
Yeah, like semi-infamously, like the dev carts on the N64 were RAM based. They weren't ROM based, so they just like wiped themselves after you used them once. So you could keep putting like new builds on it. And that doesn't mean like there aren't backups of this stuff, but it means that like buy a dev cart, like that those just like don't exist, like there's nothing on them. And so for a lot of third party games and stuff like that, you just think, oh, that stuff's probably just like gone, and it's like, oh no, someone has it somewhere, I guess.
But like that's the thing with like we talked about that for like, I think we talked about in that the Giga Leak video, I don't remember, but like I was thinking about it, that like they used the archive as a reference point, and it feels very plausible because they've been talking about like the Wind Waker HD for Wii U. They were like, why didn't you add like the cut content? And they were like, well, we put that in later games. I very much believe that they keep going back to the archives and just like pulling stuff and reusing things, because they seem to kind of be doing that, and I think that's probably why Nintendo has a lot of that stuff. It's just such a bummer that they like that no one else cares about this stuff, and people are like, this is the most important day of my life when I got to see this.
I wonder if in regards to stuff like that, if like they will release it, but like far into the future. Because there's been a thing recently with in the music industry where apparently there's some weird law where it's like, oh, if you recorded something, like you got to release it before 50 years is up, or else it's public domain. So you have all of these bands from like the 60s and 70s like just releasing like an album but with like 4 discs of supplemental material so they can kind of redo the copyright on that. And I'm wondering if that will apply to video games, and so like Mario 35th is just gonna have a Mario 64 ROM, but wait until Mario 50th and they just shove the Space World beta in for like no other reason other than so they don't have to like leak it to the public officially or something.
Oh my god!
Get a demo for Mario 128. Just
exactly.
In 3D All Stars 2. Yeah, finally play Luigi officially in Mario 64.
Oh my god. Oh god. Holy shit.
It's certainly possible. This is what makes me really curious about Dinosaur Planet, and why I want to beat it, because I want to know if the game actually is built from start to end.
Well,
just
from what
bits
I've heard,
around.
just like the fox part in like the Snowhorn Waste, I don't know if it's still called that. But like I think that segment ends there, but supposedly there's more in the ROM that's just not accessible from normal play. They've been talking pretty openly about like the possibility of like hacking it and finding more stuff. So I'm expecting
someone to
people to like pull out more stuff than is readily available.
Get that T-Rex battle.
The number I keep hearing passed around is that it's like 90% done. It's just like it's very like they obviously weren't even close to doing like a final QA pass.
Yeah.
because there's textures missing in all sorts of places. Like the very
Yeah.
first area has like flaws where you can
There's
walk
sound
across it, but
effects
you can see
missing,
through
and
it.
Yeah,
all
when I
that
got
stuff.
to the fox part, I
You fell
turned
through the
around
floor.
and fell through the floor, and the game crashed.
Oh no! But this is what I want to see, because I want to see if it would obviously require Rare's permission, but if Nintendo did go through the trouble of re-releasing Star Fox 2, which was basically in a finished state, is there a possible future where, for some sort of weird anniversary, Nintendo's like, yeah, okay, here's Dinosaur Planet, the original,
Rare
here,
did
done.
show like the Banjo prototypes and such. Like they did just like go through their archives and show all of that.
They
for, like,
probably
the
have a
Rare
lot of
Replay.
that stuff
But
still.
my guess is that they just didn't for Dinosaur Planet because that game was not in any capacity on the Rare Replay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like
Also,
the
it's
only
not
reason.
theirs entirely.
Yeah, I think the fact that it became a Star Fox game probably means that Nintendo own it, pretty much.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but what we really need to talk about here is, of course, how in Star Fox Adventures they kind of fucked up and made the game worse by making Crystal into a crystal.
Well, I would say like the entire Star Fox influence, like it feels so displaced, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that counts as a Star Fox game, doesn't it?" And it's like,
yeah, a lot of people see it as a spin-off now.
Yeah,
Star
that
Fox.
game was so shafted for like being a Star Fox spin-off because that just relegates it to never getting iterated on in any capacity ever again.
Yeah, it's interesting that it must have been when they jumped to the GameCube that they decided to focus fully in on Fox. Because clearly this build from 2000 still has Crystal being the second main character and clearly intended to have two stories going, Crystal and Fox's. Yet the GameCube obviously no.
She's so cool. Like,
I really like her in like the prototype. Like very firmly establishes like something, like a character. And you're like, I want to follow this character. I want to see her adventure. And I never felt that with Crystal in like the finished game.
No, because like honestly, she got shafted. It's just such a weird thing to add. Like, yeah, Fox needs some motivation. And it's like, but did it need to be fucking sexy blue fox lady? Like what? Why was this necessary? Like you could have just kept her there. Yeah, she could have been in the adventure. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like some sort of weird thing where they were like, okay, let's double down and just focus on Fox and have him just be the main character. But we have this character, Crystal, that we want to include in the game somehow. But we can't have her be playable because that will take away from Fox. So let's just do this with her. And
well, I can kind of see the point because, you know, playing the game, I think the only real difference between the two characters is that like Crystal has the staff and Fox or Saber had Tricky. And like, I don't really feel the distinction is that great between them. I think like the good move is to combine those two in like one uniform character, but I don't feel it has to be Fox McCloud.
No,
no,
it should have been Crystal. Crystal should have been the main character.
Yeah,
like this shouldn't have been a Star Fox game. That's the main point here. It should never have been a Star Fox game. It should have been Crystal. Who's an adventure thing.
This is this is translucent Miyamoto over the shoulders, whispering in the ears, make it Fox.
Why don't
we need an R-Wing?
They need an R-Wing.
Hey, this looks like Fox, you know, it could be Fox.
Yeah.
Why don't you put a fucking fox in it? Put a fucking fox in it.
And then they did. Because he was really threatening.
You don't say no to Miyamoto. The ghost of Miyamoto.
The thing that's so off-putting too is that like I'm so used to this GameCube game. I like the intro and everything.
Anders Moberg har en jättebra poäng. They should have released it as Dinosaur Planet. It should have had a featuring Fox from Star Fox franchise there. Like Dante was. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as I was saying, like so the intro of the game, I'm so used to that, and playing it now with like real voices and not Keo Marcos Dinosaur Planet Kalatusta. Like, wow, you're speaking lines, and I'm like, oh, I can feel like some character to you because you're not just pulling words.
My favorite one is when General Scales just say
Moa.
and it's oh, I don't know. It's like that guy, like it's kind of funny how they just made the dinosaur language and then they say like the names like General Scales normally.
Yeah. General Scales, Cusca Pusto Luco Tusto. What?
Good, very good. Like the
Keo Pastorto Dinosaur Planet. They're like, oh god.
I also like just the ending part. Spoilers for Star Fox Adventures, where like Andros just comes out of nowhere.
Before that, you're like, oh, I'm gonna fight General Scales. You're like facing each other. It's like a gameplay segment, and you press A, and he's gone.
And like Andros comes out, but thank you, General Scales, for doing everything. And he's like, who the fuck are you? And then he's dead. And then Andros, like, you don't even know it's Andros yet. You fly out into space, and then he turns around, and Fox says, Andros. It's kind of like the fucking Fallout 3 thing where the bad guy at the end just says, you again.
Oh, God.
And I just love that. He's like, yeah, it's me, I'm back.
I've been looking forward to this day when I can see you again, Fox McCloud. And Ross.
Like the best part, I think one of the best parts that they kind of nailed in that game is that it is very quotable, just like Star Fox.
I keep pulling quotes from that game like on a daily, like, you paid this much. It's a classic, but it's also like, now let's see how strong you are.
or like what is it,
50 scarabs to enter Cape Claw.
60 scarabs.
60 scarabs.
60 scarabs. I keep pulling like so strange lines that like they stick in my head, and they're there for the rest of my life. Like
another one. It's
another one.
It's the whole.
Nobody ever brings me gifts anymore.
God. My babies like to climb trees. Find a tree and I'll reward you.
I love this game.
It is a very funny game in that sense.
I just remember the ending so much because of the fact that if you save the game there, then you're stuck perpetually doing the ending forever. You can't go explore anything. You just got to watch Falco show up out of nowhere and then fight Andros. Then it's just a Star Fox game at that point.
Yeah, but it's like I remember being bummed out about that. Like, oh shit, I can't explore the world. And then you realize that there are fuel cells. Oh yeah, sheet tokens.
Sheet tokens. Pay me 20 scarabs, and I'll give you a sheet token.
Like the shopkeeper is the best part though.
How about playing little games?
He's so amazing. Like just the where.
Nope, that's too low. I don't need business from Sheepskate. Get out!
So fucking good. Oh my god.
Fucking hell. Like the vocal performances of that game once you get past the Kutska Hook stuff.
Yeah.
I love that Fox is just like, I'm not pulling this bullshit. You're speaking English now. And
you beep. Presses the button, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that different language thing is really interesting for general scales, because I immediately preferred him in the beta with his menacing British accent that he has.
You're like that's how it should be. Like,
it's just funny how his laugh is really not at all menacing. It's more like
Well,
like
it is
fake laughter.
Off-putting in a sense to like hear those voices, because like I think most of them are like the same voice actor, but like they're clearly like earlier takes, and some feel very like temporary, where it's like just someone sitting in a room being like, yes, it's me, General Scales, ruler tyrant of dinosaurs. Like,
yeah, looking over at his papers, you can hear him rustle with them. It's like. Yeah.
I think the most shocking element of like that entire prototype for me was like, so like Star Fox Adventures begins with you like getting on the floating galleon, and there's a little like flying bird lizard in a little cage, and I think like the only purpose that character has is to be like, oh, you can like lock on, like there's some tutorial element or something. And it just passes by, and you said it like comes back later in the game or something.
I don't think it does.
I don't remember at all, but like it's just there. It's just a little fucking flying lizard.
The thing that
cage. And then in the beta, it's like, no, wait, this is like the most important character. Like this is Crystal's entire motivation. It's like the damsel in distress thing. It's like, this is why you do the entire game. You're like, huh.
Like the thing that they did upgrade a little bit though was like how you actually got to Krasoa Palace, because really how General Scales for no reason presses his belt and he disappears for no reason at all. He's just like I'm leaving. She is not even a threat to him. Well, he's not afraid. Nothing is happening, and he gets like there comes like a little lightning bolt or something, and he's like, oh fuck, and he presses his belt and he disappears, and then Crystal is like, oh well, I guess we're fine then, and then they steer it away, and then she goes away, and when he reappears on the boat, she's like, "Oh fuck! What? Fuck! Oh!" And he's like,
"Oh, I'm the smart." Like she shot the turrets and everything on the ships. Like, I guess it was out of commission in some sense.
But he just took it again.
Well, she says something like, "We gotta try to steer this," and I'm thinking like maybe they had some other intention for this to be like more explicitly like this is a shipwreck now or something, but like it doesn't come across. And I think the good move is probably to just be like, I'm ditching this ship, like Crystal is ditching the ship.
Actually she's not. He throws her overboard.
Well, yeah,
in that, like that makes more sense, but then she's like, haha, fuck you couldn't do that.
No, she doesn't. She says Moltse General.
Yeah, you oh, I remember. Yeah.
God, I love Star Fox.
Yeah.
I like do a barrel roll.
Yeah. Well, Star Fox is just like, it's a franchise of like quotes. It's just a quote machine.
Are you real going to listen to that monkey?
I feel like
not as stupid as you look.
I feel like Star Fox Adventures is like one of those. Fox. It's like one of those games that when you have like a random fan of something, and they're like, "Yeah, but what if like there was like a Sonic third-person shooter or something?" You know, like it's.
And
what if Star Fox? You know this fucking spaceship game shoot 'em up thing? What if it was Zelda? You're like, no. What if it wasn't?
What if it wasn't? Man,
what if Mario Party was Super Smash Brothers?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is that, like Ultimate?
I don't know.
What if Mario Party, but the mini games are all GoldenEye? Like,
yeah, yes.
Oh gosh. Yeah, what if Banjo-Kazooie and it was GoldenEye too?
Yes,
that's funny too.
That's funny too.
Yeah.
Like it's someone mentioned in the chat before. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but just how like these, it's like Nintendo 64 games that Rare made kind of were a bit like inconsistent.
Yeah, I think. Well, so like the early Rare Nintendo 64 games are very like focused on like core thing. They're kind of short, but like them
They're
like Blast
more
Corps,
focused.
Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, like they're very much this is the thing, this is what they are. And then you have like Donkey Kong 64, which is like this is everything.
Yeah.
It's all of the things. And then
then you have
Banjo-Tooie is like,
Banjo-Tooie.
well, we're trying to like think how we should like make a sequel to a platforming game. We were thinking guns.
Banjo-Tooie
about
does
if-
give off the vibe of, oh, well, Banjo-Kazooie is popular and GoldenEye is popular, so together.
I think it was just. I think they just didn't want to be like typecasted. I know that was like the big deal. That was the big meme behind Conquer is that they just didn't want to be like, oh, we don't want to make another cutesy platformer. Let's just shove like 7 different genres into it.
Yeah, Conquer is very, very like whiplash in that. One of the things that's like, I'm not sure if it's intentional or not about Conquer, but like that game kind of like it feels very intently like it starts as a platformer game and then just ditches the collectibles and everything. Like the money wads have no like purpose at all in the later game.
It's a very weird game.
It's so like unclear if that's like the intention to be like what showing how something just starts detracting and like becomes something else, or if that's just a product of them like developing the game like in chronological order and being like, we don't care about the barn level anymore. Let's do like a zombie level. I don't know.
Doodle said it, by the way. Just gonna give some credit. Thank you. Yeah, but like I really like Banjo-Kazooie, but I don't like Banjo-Tooie at all. It's too much. It's kind of that problem a lot of platforming sequels had, where they lose focus and start doing everything, like Spyro, Crash. I always thought that like the first one of those and the second one were the best ones, and then by the third,
that's where you like start to derail. Like Spyro 3 starts to become like Ratchet and Clank, and you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, because like they were starting to sort of think like, oh well, we have like you can't do that much with Spyro because he doesn't have hands, and it's like, man, you could just have like if you want to put a gun on Spyro, like you could probably do
it. You do a Dino Riders thing or something.
Yeah, do a Dino Riders thing. I don't know.
Doodle. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, it's sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, Doodle in chat said, "Is Conquer a statement on feature creep, or is it actually just a victim of feature creep?" It's absolutely a victim of feature creep.
Yeah, I would say that too. Like, yeah.
The latter half of the 5th gen, I've always said, like, I think someone, I forgot who said it, but someone like way back on like some random forum I was reading saying like the quality control in the 5th gen was like Atari level of like every game was either like Neo Geo quality or like addicting flash games .com quality. Like there was no like middle ground. Everyone early on was trying to stick to one thing, and then by the end everyone's like, oh, I gotta make my game radically different by shoving in as much shit as possible.
That generation is very like it's the early PS1 games compared to like the late Nintendo 64 games. It's a like it just goes somewhere completely different. Like the game landscape climate had changed so much in between. Like it's intense.
It's insane.
Yeah, like so Crash 2 is the best one. 3 goes too far, because 2 still like kept a lot of the first one's ideas and just expanded on them. But 3 was like, yeah, okay, it's time to put Crash inside of a fucking plane, and it sucks. And it's like, yeah, okay, thanks.
That's like the pitch. They're like, okay, so I have an idea. It's gonna suck,
And like
Spyro on a skateboard. That's
Yes,
cool.
yeah.
It's horrible, and it's gonna be fucking abysmal to try to do all the fucking tricks. You're
And
gonna
like
fucking hate
I see why a lot
Gonna
of
do it
people would
anyway.
like Spyro 2 the best, for example, because it still keeps a lot of the things and like adds some mini games to like give some different challenges and stuff. And then 3 just like, yeah, here are 5 different characters and also skateboard and all the other things. And it's like, oh my god, please. No. Like, how did we get here?
I
don't-
can't imagine what being a game dev at the end of the 5th generation must have been like when the biggest games around were like Final Fantasy VII, Ocarina of Time, and like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like it must have been like, who do we appeal to?
Yeah. I still think Spyro 1 is the best one.
Yeah,
Like-
It's
same.
Yeah.
very focused.
Crash
Because,
2,
like-
Spyro
short
1.
Like
spurt thing.
I know that a lot of people complain about, or maybe not complain, but like criticize the levels structure and how small they are. And yeah, the levels are not as well made as the second and third one, I would say. But I think that like the way Spyro has these smaller levels that you can beat fairly quickly, but there's a lot of stuff to collect, is actually a kind of good way of doing it.
I
I
always
think
liked
it works.
I always liked Spyro 1 because it was like the only game I finished as a child because it's easy and made for 2-year-olds.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so easy peasy. It's great. It's just like, oh, this is the most leisurely like
Yeah, the
scroll of a
bosses.
video game.
The bosses are a joke. But then again, bosses in the later games were not that good either. So it's like, I think that like what they lost kind of, and I think Spyro fans like the collectibles in the first one best. Even if you like the second one or third one better, you will probably agree that saving the dragons is a lot cooler than the baby eggs and the orbs and talismans. Like the second one is really all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't like
At some
the
point,
change in
it
the
just
second one.
ditches the talismans and just like, fuck that shit.
I feel like my biggest disappointment with Spyro 2 and 3 is that I don't know, like when I was a kid, like not only was Spyro fun because it was easy peasy, but it also had like that early 5th gen like vibe to it, like where all the skyboxes are just gradients.
Oh, baby.
and shit like that. Like it just has like that inherent like, yeah, we're making video games on computers now. like vibe. And yeah, like the later two try a little too hard to essentially just be every other kid's video game at the time.
And Spyro was amazing, like just technically.
Yeah.
From that, like a lot of things that we take for granted today, they just made in that game, and like it makes sense in hindsight because when you know that people like Mark Cerny has been involved in everything ever, then it's like, yeah, okay, yes, of course. And now he made the PS5 sort of. He's like, yes. I don't know. It's like if you look up Mark Cerny, his catalog of what he's been doing is so like, if you think like, who is this guy? He has been involved in one of your favorite games from when you were a kid. Probably. Most likely. And it's funny.
It's basically just anything that's not Nintendo.
Yeah, it feels like if you look at all the interesting bits from these games, like yeah, he was part of making Jak and Daxter, Spyro,
Ratchet and
Crash,
Clank.
like all of
Uncharted.
them.
Sonic 2.
Sonic 2. Like,
Oh yeah.
what the fuck? Like, and it's not that weird then when you hear like people saying like, yeah, so when Yu Suzuki was gonna make Shenmue 3 and stuff like that, like the guy who kind of got in contact with Yu Suzuki to make that thing. Well, he got in contact with him through Mark Cerny. And it's like, man, this guy, he's everywhere. What the fuck? It's all over the place. What a guy.
Right. So I think we're getting towards the end of this episode. We've gone past the 2-hour mark. We're getting to the 2:15.
Yeah.
So I think it's about time to wrap up. The only thing I was going to mention was it's also Zelda's 35th anniversary today. Like, to the actual day. No.
Well, they did, but like, I was so expecting them to do, like, in the direct, be like, oh, we're doing this because it's Zelda's 35th anniversary. They didn't even mention it.
No. I think
very strange.
They've got plans for it, and those plans will probably come in the second half of the year. I think they're waiting for Mario's anniversary stuff to be officially done, so they can kick Mario out on April 1st and then bring Link in.
Well, they're gonna kill Mario on like March 35th.
Yeah, that picture. Don't forget, Mario is going to be executed publicly.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're getting like the Skyward Sword game. That's a game that's gone.
Yeah, they gave us one thing because they knew people wanted Zelda stuff, and may as well announce that now.
Skyward Sword.
I'm somewhat like, I didn't dislike Skyward Sword, and I'm super interested about the fact they've put button controls into this game now.
It's fine. It's not my favorite one. I think that it drags on too long.
Yeah, it's definitely my least favorite of all the 3D Zelda games.
Yeah,
like it goes on a bit too long. It's a bit too linear. But I was fine with the motion controls, but I know that was a lot of people's big problems with the motion controls. So I'm curious to see how it gets, if it gets more popular and more people start liking it because it's got button controls now instead.
Yeah,
like that's interesting. But yeah, Zelda's birthday today. We'll probably see more from Link and Co in April. I don't know why I said it like that.
From what I understand, the reason why they had like the Mario Direct at the end in September was just on the basis of like all their plans have been pushed back, so they kind of had to like shove everything together into like a big like, oh yeah, here's all these things coming out in the next couple of months. But I think with Zelda it is going to be like a more gradual thing. Like they're just going to be like, here's Skyward Sword, here's whatever, here's another thing.
I imagine they'll have a logo for the 35th anniversary, so they'll probably need to. They'll probably start with that.
I think they would, because they had last time. It's like you can probably be certain that they're going to re-release Twilight Princess and Wind Waker at least. The HD remaster.
Yeah, those just seem like easy re-releases.
I'm not so sure anymore, actually.
No, it's gonna happen. Like honestly, that's like the last shit that's
okay. So hear me out on this. I'm thinking
it's gonna be a pack.
What if they use that as padding in upcoming years because they want to do like one Zelda title a year?
Maybe.
Like that could happen. I'm not 100% sure they'll do like all of them this year.
Could be too much.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they just redid Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and they just do what they're doing with Skyward Sword, where it's just the Wii games but with cool controls. I don't put I love Twilight Princess, but God, Twilight Princess HD is so ugly. It's so disgusting looking.
That game in general, I don't know. Like
I played it like 2007. I've never touched it since. I should probably get back to it, but like at this point, I'm just like, Nintendo, just give it to me so I can like play it.
You're gonna re-release it, you know? Probably, but I feel like they'll put both of them on the like eShop and then together as a package. I know people are getting up in arms about Skyward Sword being a full price game again, which I don't care either way. I mean, people are acting like they've not done anything with it, and it's literally the Wii game with nothing new, which A is way too early to know that because we
Yeah.
and
Hey,
also
why-
they've
why do you-
redone all of the controls and given it button support. I mean that requires quite a rework of a lot of enemies, I feel, to
And
get
hey-
that working.
See,
If
my only
you-
thing. Oh, sorry, you go on.
No, yeah, like if you this is just a joke, by the way, don't be mad at me. And also you can just buy it on Wii U. It's on the eShop. Just get it. It's 200 Swedish kroner.
That's $20.
can
You
do
gotta
it.
use like a metric people know, Alicia.
Huh?
Uh,
Yeah.
You got. I think Twilight Princess and Wind Waker will probably come out in the eShop this year. As something I feel like they're re-releases that are too new to be then re-released again at full price. It's like one thing doing it once, however many, nearly a decade later.
They're gonna be a pack. Like those two games, full price, one package.
I'm expecting, like, I'm so prepared.
The
for
Zelda
them
HD collection.
Yeah, they're gonna do like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like just like the Mario 3D All Stars ones. So it's just like the standard edition Nintendo 64 ones, and they're just gonna pretend the 3DS ones never existed. They're just gonna be like, as never seen before, finally in HD, finally, like on a modern system, and people are just gonna be like, but you already remade them.
Ganon's Fury.
Ganon's Fury, that's the one. That's
the
the
one.
that's the money shot.
Being added to Wind Waker and Twilight Princess double pack. Is
Oh,
Ganon's
gosh.
Fury.
It's really funny because I mean I'm not like crazy on Skyward Sword, but I appreciate that. I appreciate the game looks the same.
Yeah.
because like Skyward Sword is the one Wii game I can pop into my Wii U, and even through like the Wii U shoddy like HDMI scaling, I'm like, yeah, that looks beautiful. That looks really good. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want Skyward Sword to look like a UE4 demo. Like
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Oh baby, it's Unreal Engine. Nintendo hired this man.
Yeah.
deer running in the background.
My
Can
God.
we just like say that Wind Waker HD was the one time Nintendo hired that man?
Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I just want the GameCube game in widescreen and HD, like upscaled, because
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
you have a
the-
gaming
the
PC and a
remake-
Dolphin.
the remake, yeah, I can do that, I guess. The remake is fine, but it's not like that. Like Wind Waker is so beautiful on its own. It doesn't need anything really.
Yeah, that's just generally how I feel about most game remakes. It's just like not
Yeah.
like just like Twilight Princess HD in that regard is so egregious because like the opening, for example, like on the Wii version, you have that bridge and has like a really cool, unique brick pattern. But then, like on Twilight Princess HD, you can tell someone at Grezzo just Google searched brick and then just like repeated it like 70 times in a row.
That was
And it's
Tantalus
ugly
for
as sin.
Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh,
Poor
it's
Grezzo.
Tantalus. Sorry.
Tantalus, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Grezzo. Sorry for
Grezzo
that.
did nothing wrong.
Grezzo did nothing wrong. They are fine people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell us Tinker Toyland.
Unless it is a situation like Link's Awakening where they just completely redo the game from the ground up and it's like, oh, it's cute. It's like it's a neato.
Yeah.
I love that game, like the graph. Oh fuck! Oh.
It's so good.
Which one?
Link's
It's
Awakening.
so
Link's
good.
Awakening remake,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the graph. Oh fucking hell! Oh, Nintendo released a console that can do that without lag.
Yeah.
Every time you go to the swamp and the frame rate's just like bye.
Crashes.
I don't know why that even happens because it's
No.
like
I don't.
at some point you would imagine like this must be just badly optimized.
Apparently
Because-
it's like a weird culling issue. Because
Yeah.
like the game loads in like every environment in like a huge chunk all at
Yes.
once.
And that's weird. Like
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
I get that they could like it probably not as easy as just making a patch and then you're done.
Yeah,
like
no.
because if it's if it's like in this, like from a structural point, then maybe I don't know. I'm not a developer, so I don't know. But I would imagine that they would probably do it different next time.
Hopefully, we hope. Maybe that rumored Switch Pro will be able to help have that game running
That's
without
not
lag.
like I don't like that. It's like the games should be optimized for the system they're on.
Yeah, like the Yoshi's Crafted World. Wait, I'm gonna look it up again.
60 FPS all the time.
Yeah, but like,
But
I'm gonna look it up now. I keep forgetting because it's so specific. So like so Yoshi's Crafted World.
Guess, wait. Guess what the resolution for that game is.
Okay.
We'll say
like in P. Like
yeah,
180p.
I want to just say 720p, but I have a feeling it's going to be something really bizarre, like 958
or something.
Yeah, something really stupidly specific.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? So like, it's different docked and handheld. So like docked, it's 576 to 675, but handheld, it's 396 to 495. That's like a YouTube video from 2007. Like what the fuck?
I know Mario
low.
Odyssey. Mario Odyssey does like a weird thing where like the game is interlaced in handheld mode. Like it plays back 2 frames running at like half resolution and like flickers back between the two to create 60 FPS.
Like it's like Yoshi's like that game looks good still, which is weird.
Yoshi's Crafted World is a weird one in general because Nintendo were like, I guess good feel. We're like, okay, we know how to use Unreal Engine now. We're going to use it for this. And Nintendo's like, we've taught all our devs Unreal Engine. Let's never use it again.
Yeah. Like I don't know what happened. It's kind of weird.
It's an experiment, I guess. They reduced in really, really weird resolution.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if it was some weird deal with Epic where they were like, we'll like work on like specific Switch features for UE4 if you use it in some of your games. And they were probably like, okay.
Wow.
Okay, we'll try.
What's like a lowbrow franchise we can use to? Yoshi's Crafted World was a really good game, though. I'm not gonna. I made like a video about that.
It's got really cool. Like Yoshi's Crafted World has very good aesthetics. I still think Woolly World's a better game, though.
Yeah.
It's really silly that like Yoshi runs on like UE4, but then you learn about how like Mario 3D World, Mario Maker, and like Splatoon 1 all use the same engine. It's nuts.
And you start wondering, what the fuck? What happened?
Just have to see when Good feels next game, if that runs on Unreal Engine or not.
I
Runs
love
on UE5.
Good feel.
And they released
I sure hope
Clay
Good feels
Adventure.
next game is Kirby's Epic Yarn HD.
Yes.
Because fuck!
Hey, give me Wario Land Shake It HD, please.
They used to make gorgeous games for like a standard definition console, and Nintendo were like, put it on the 3DS.
Why did they put fucking Kirby's Epic Yarn on the 3DS? It's
in like 2019.
Fuck. Okay. If there's any time I'm going to be like angry at Nintendo, it's for not putting Epic Yarn on an HD console. It's the one game that needs to be in HD, and they're like, no. How about 3DS?
Yeah, fine. You can do 3DS and Switch.
It's flatter than flat. Like fuck. Oh my god. But no, that's impossible. Can't do it.
Oh gosh.
They also put Yoshi's Woolly World on the 3DS, so it's never gonna happen on Switch because they think like, well, it's on the 3DS.
There seems to be a thing with Nintendo as of late. They're like 2 consoles. Like we can port it once. So all the Wii U games that got on 3DS, well, fuck you.
It's like how they hyped up Luigi's Mansion 3 by re-releasing the first one on the 3DS.
The funny thing thing was when I was thinking when they put together their, like, this is not a problem now, of course, because now the divisions are like put together and we just have one console. Fucking finally, thank you. But like when this happened, I was like, my God, like just like taking these things and like upscaling them and putting them on the Switch, that would be fucking perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's like my takeaway when people are complaining about like Wii U ports on Switch. I'm like, no, they should use all of them. Just pull all of them. Every Wii game, every GameCube game, like HD remaster. I don't care how much like you're just milking that shit. I want to play these games. Like,
especially
on
if
the
they're
new console.
Especially if they're doing what they're doing with games like 3D World and Skyward Sword, where they seem to be making like the objectively best versions of these games.
Yeah.
Like making 3D World faster has only made that game better. Introducing traditional controls to Skyward Sword and 60 FPS is like a huge improvement over the Wii original.
And
this is good.
Cameron says the Banjo Free pencil trailer will always make me fury Bowser. And it's true. Like, honestly, at some point, like, Kiki likes nuts and bolts. I think it's fine too. But
if
it's
that
different.
game was released as like a spin-off next to like a real Banjo game,
yes,
I don't think people would be like that again.
No.
The thing about nuts and bolts, I'm going to be real short now because we're really running out of time, but like that game had like a physics creative, like make a car thing that's really advanced and like
really
there's
creative.
so much opportunities. And people look at that game and are like, "Where's not a real Banjo game?"
Yeah, yes, and it makes sense after all. Like when we got that trailer, like the first pencil trailer thing, it's like they're just like Banjo's just, oh fuck, it's gonna be Banjo free, it's gonna be fucking awesome, and then it's like, but what about cars? And it's like, yeah, it's a fine game, but maybe the wrong one at the wrong time.
Nuts and Bolts is the Federation Force of its generation.
Yes! Yes! Oh, Federation Force!
This is it. Right. I think we should start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone who has listened to this, especially if you've been here for the whole 2.5 hours. And I want to thank both of you, Alicia and Kiki, for joining us on this. Why don't you let people know where they can find you at? I'm sure we've linked it in the description.
Thank you. You can find us on Twitter at TransparencyBoo. Boo is the little funny character who's in our little avatar. She's our little ghost pal. And then you can find us on YouTube. And there we are, Transparency. You should probably just be able to do that. Maybe we'll put a link in the chat for you too.
I can just like, from this discussion, I can recommend Rejecting Gamer Identity for like the direct stuff. I can recommend Leaking Culture for the Giga Leak stuff. And I can also recommend Hard Aesthetics for like the Nintendo should do Kirby's Epic Yarn HD stuff.
For your pitch for Nintendo to do that.
So, yeah.
All right. And
basically,
you all know where it's obviously Source Gaming. That's where you'll find me and Colin. Want to thank all of our patrons as always. Just gonna slap that ending screen on here right now. $5 up patrons will be appearing on screen. Let us know in the comments if you had any thoughts about anything we've discussed. If you got any questions for us, put them down there. And yeah, look forward to next week. I don't know what the plan is, to be honest. If Pokemon probably has something this week, so we'll probably talk about that next week.
Next week when I'm half blind.
Yay!
Oh no!
All right, bye guys.